Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to show you how to defeat the Witherstorm in Cracker's Witherstorm mod, because it's an incredibly difficult mod and I've been spending the past couple weeks trying to do it, so I'm sure that I can give a couple of good tips. Before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe, and because this isn't a building video, I'm probably not going to make more videos like this. This is just going to be a one-off thing. Without further ado, onto the tutorial. Now, before you even begin your Witherstorm mod world, first you need to install it, and I'm going to link a different tutorial on how to do that in the top right, but assuming you already have that, then I recommend making your world in hardcore mode. Albeit that does seem counterintuitive, I feel like it does make sense to an extent, because if you die once to the Witherstorm, there is a pretty high chance that without respawn anchor, you have no way of getting back to your current progression, and considering the Witherstorm's probably angry at that point, you're just going to get irritated at yourself trying to make a comeback repeatedly. So I'm just going to assume you are running on hardcore mode. Make sure that you are running with generating structures on, and the bonus chest is off if you're playing on hardcore, albeit it's probably not going to be that useful anyways. Then you can make your world. Once you've booted into your world, there are 3 things you need to do. First, take a look around. If you're in a desert biome, you're actually in a very good spot, because if you find a desert temple, you've made your life 50 times easier, because the Formidabomb is by far the hardest part of this mod. Then, press escape, go to your options, resource packs, and make sure that your mod resources are above the default, because that will make sure that your crossbows render with ender pearls in them if you equip them with ender pearls, which I'll discuss later. Then, you need to press F3 and go to 0, 0. The Witherstorm's house will always generate at exactly 0, 0. And once you get there, you have a couple of things to do. Once you've located the mysterious house, there are a couple of things you need to get from it before you summon the Witherstorm. First off, you may notice that there are a couple of cobwebs in here, and this is actually super important. But first, get yourself a little bit of wood. You can grab this from the walls. And get yourself a wooden pickaxe. With your wooden pickaxe, you can actually mine down the foundation, which is made out of blackstone. So you can immediately start getting your stone axe and stone pickaxe, which are incredibly important. So get yourself 6 pieces of blackstone and craft yourself those 2 tools. Once you have your 2 tools, you then want to craft yourself a wooden sword, break down 2 cobwebs in here, and that's enough for a crossbow later on. Never craft a normal bow, always go for the crossbow. This fireplace has 2 charcoal in it, and then get yourself 48 books. And you can also snatch yourself the smoker in here. One other thing is that there's an anvil in here, however this is mostly optional because you can see it's damaged and also it takes way too much XP to use. But grab yourself everything else, and then you can actually go and summon the Witherstorm. But be prepared, and also get yourself a boat, especially if you're in the ocean. It is definitely the best tool you can grab. Once you got everything, start by summoning the Witherstorm. You have 50 seconds to escape the area, and I've just been an idiot for a moment. And I've shortened this period to 15 seconds just to give you a demonstration. You want to build as much distance as you can away from the Witherstorm. And if you are in the ocean, then you're actually doing quite good, because it will go for the fishes instead. As you can see, I only had about 10 seconds to get away, and immediately it goes for something else. So, start by just endlessly going, looking for shipwrecks, trying to find buried treasure, because that's incredibly important. And if you happen to have found a desert temple, go back to it and grab the TNT from it. It will be incredibly useful later. Once you've built yourself a lot of distance away, you should just go about with normal survival precautions. Try finding iron, get yourself a lot of wood, I recommend more than 32 logs, and keep note of any lava lakes nearby. So, There really isn't too much you can do besides, standard survival, but I do recommend getting yourself at least one sugarcane for invisibility potions later. On that note, you should also grab yourself a carrot for the same purposes. Then, you should try finding yourself a lava lake. In the off chance that you still somehow get caught, especially if you killed all nearby animals, you basically only have one course of action. You need to bury yourself in the ground. And do not do it normally in the desert, because, sand. But just try to get under a tree, and cover your tracks. If you do this, you can't see anymore, but you can see that I am not getting exposed to the air anymore, which means I can't be attacked. Tunnel around, and wait until it gets distracted, as in the explosion stops. If you're caught by the wither storm, and it's still small, but has a tractor beam, there's basically only one thing you can do. Try pelting it with snowballs, and you can see it is not working. So, essentially, if you get caught by that phase, you are basically dead. You can still try to bury yourself in the ground, and that does work, but remember, if it has a tractor beam, stay far away. At some point, the wither storm will end up being a phase 4 wither storm, which means it's going to supersize, and at this point, you should really head to the nether. But if for any reason you do get caught by phase 4, 5, or 6 wither storm, really just wither storm at any time after it's tiny, you may get tractor beamed. And there are a couple ways you can avoid the wither storm. But fortunately, the skulls don't deal nearly as much damage and have a chance to miss. But if you are caught, you can try moving out of the way, but it's often very hard. So, what you can do is hit it with snowballs. However, it might catch you again. But you can see at this point that I've managed to escape, used a water bucket, and now you can run under it. It's very slow at turning, so hopefully you can now get underground without getting sucked up again. Since if you're in the nether, it's really just smooth sailing, I'm just going to be covering a couple more ways you can escape from the wither storm. First off, if you don't have any projectiles or aren't confident in your abilities, what you can do is hold a ender pearl in your offhand, get a crossbow, and fire. As you can see, it went very far away, and now I'm safely out of the trap, albeit it's going to chase me now. But if you hold a shield and hold it up like this, albeit you're going to be moving very slowly, it cannot target you under any circumstance. If you are caught in the tractor beam, you can safely move out of it, albeit you might suffer a large fall. But still, if you are caught, the world is not ending. And the final trick you can use to escape a wither storm without ender pearls is ride in a boat, stranger. If you are not confident in your abilities to use a water bucket or boat clutch or whatever thing you want to use, powder snow, etc., then you can attack it with a crossbow or whatever, and it will always miss its goals. So, once you hit its eye and it drops you, you're going to be safe. You're already in the boat. As you can see, I'm in a boat, so I can't take fall damage unless I fall from very specific heights, and the chances of that are very slim. So, now you can get away. Now armed with the knowledge to get away from a wither storm, now we need to understand what do we even do in the nether. So, in order to make the Formidabomb that will allow you to regress through the wither storm's phases and temporarily stun it, we need 2 blaze rods, which means you do need to find a nether fortress, which might take a lot of searching. And fortunately, I got lucky. But instead of getting just 2, I recommend getting 4, because while in the nether, you get the 2 for the Formidabomb, you can get Brewing Stand now, and then power that up with Blaze Powder, and that's one of your Blaze Powders, and the other one can be used on a Strength Potion. Also, while you're here, I highly recommend raiding a Bastion. It will get you a ton of resources, albeit I'm no expert on Bastion raiding, so I'll link another tutorial on that in the top right. There's no point in trying to go through it slow if you are highly confident in your abilities, because we just need to barter with the piglins and get some of the good chests. Since you mostly follow normal survival, I'm just going to skip to here, where you're right about to go to the overworld, and you have a small base set up in the nether, and preferably some chests and piglins to barter with. Your inventory should be looking right about like this, and of course this is not exhaustive, but you need to have all the ingredients for something called golden apple stew, which includes suspicious stew, which is 2 of each mushroom, then some flowers, and we'll need golden apples, some diamonds, and we need some stuff from the wither storm itself, which we should not have yet for the most part. Then, you should have at least iron armor. It's fine if you have a little bit of golden, but you may have noticed that at some point you might have been covered in purple, and that means you have the wither disease. As you can see, I'm covered in a purple film, and that's going to slowly drain away my max HP over time, which is why you need to not wait in the nether forever, especially if you've been around the wither storm for more than 10 minutes, or have been hit by the tractor beam more than 6 times, even if you are underground during it. So, if you have this disease, then I recommend going to the overworld soon. Once you return back to the overworld, I recommend that once you build your portal, your nether coordinates should be around 300 or more, or actually 500, because every block in the nether is 8 blocks in the overworld, and we need to get significantly far away from that thing. If it does not look like that big blob over there, then you are in just trouble, because that means it cannot summon the withered symbiont. So, just wait around. If you stay in the same 8 chunk radius for 30 minutes, it will multiply speed by 20 if you made your portal too far away. For now, just get all the ingredients you need for your golden apple stew, and anything else you might be missing, such as your blaze powder, gunpowder, the just mushrooms, golden apples, sugar, and we need to get brewing. Once you go to the overworld and grab everything you need for your potions, go back to the nether. Witherstorm will still be coming over to your location, and you need your strength and night vision turned into invisibility. Both of them start with netherwort. You get awkward potions, add blaze powder for the strength, add golden carrot for the invis. This will become strength, this will be night vision, add glowstone to your strength, and add fermented spider eye to your night vision. That will turn this one to invisibility, this one will already be done. Then add redstone to make it 8 minutes long. And then go back to the overworld, and the wither storm should be waiting. Once you get back to the overworld with your potions ready, the wither storm should be waiting approximately at your portal. And make sure that you keep a little bit of extra obsidian, or have a diamond pickaxe, because sometimes it will break your portal. Now, all you have to do is loiter around for about 10 minutes, and I recommend drinking your invis potions at this time. And you might find wither roses from fallen enemies, which you should take. These can be turned into golden apple stew, but you should not eat it unless you are currently escaping. After loitering around under it, it should summon a symbiont. And if you are above water, well, if the storm is above water, it will not spawn it. So make sure you're on land. Then all you have to do is wait around until you find it. And it can be quite hard to find because it just has such a random spawn area. But if in the bottom left you see something saying Symbiont theme now playing, that means the Witherstorm can no longer attack you, which means you are now in the safe zone. And here is the Symbiont. It appears as a giant zombie, and is incredibly dangerous. Make sure to stay away from it, but as long as it's attacking, you are in the good. In order to deal with this giant zombie, what you need to do is you need to just survive it for a while, because eventually it will tire itself out. And it has a lot of attacks, such as summoning a ton of ghast fireballs, summoning wither skulls, which can one-hit you if you're not careful, so maybe keep some milk around. And it can summon storms of arrows. It can also summon mobs once it gets tired. You can tell because it will make a strange noise. It will also sometimes slam, which you should definitely run around. And now you can see it's summoning a ton of mobs. Now you should drink your strength potion and try to eliminate all the mobs. And it can be incredibly chaotic. This is the time where you're most likely to die. But as you can see, I managed to get hidden. And now you should try running away for a moment. Because, of course, you're going to need to regenerate. Sometimes, if you don't hit it enough, it will try to suck you back in using command block powers. At that point, you should just attack any nearby enemies. But once you hit it back enough, it will enter phase 2. At this point, you just do exactly what you've been doing the entire time. As in, you should just try running. But it's vulnerable for most of the time, as long as you hit it in the back, and it does deal way too much damage, so make sure to keep a proper distance, and it is vulnerable to crossbows, so keep that in mind. After a while, it will enter its powered down phase again, and in this phase you can attack it some more. And it's still going to remain to be a very difficult battle, so if you take too much damage, it's completely fine to run away for a moment. But remember, it can only take damage from the back, and it can also, after enough combat with it, eventually it will become weakened again. And I am having a lot of trouble with this fight, so I just summoned it in a different area, and eventually you'll be able to get behind it, albeit it's very hard when it's not vulnerable. So just stay away, keep your distance, make sure to dodge all the projectiles, and eventually you'll be able to land a killing blow. I've moved to a different area for demonstration purposes because a taiga is not a good place for this fight, but eventually it will become vulnerable again. And then you'll finally be able to land a killing blow. So be careful of everything else. The creepers deal way too much damage, akin to that of a charged creeper. But once it finally does this animation, it means it's about to die. Now you can see, we have the enchanted command block book. With the command block book in hand, we can now finish the formula. And the crafting recipe is quite simple. We start off with the book in the center, 4 TNT, 4 gunpowder. That's why I said get so much gunpowder earlier and why deserts are amazing. Then you can start, and you might get sucked up. With the command block book in hand, now you need to craft the super TNT. You should have some time from killing the symbiont. And the recipe is book in the middle, 4 TNT, and we got 4 gunpowder. Super TNT here, don't use that, it won't work. Then we get 4 blaze powder, make sure the blaze powder is on the plus and the gunpowder on the edges. Now we have a formidabomb. As you can see, you do not have much time, because it will automatically detonate, and it will also fall out of your inventory, which is quite convenient. So, get yourself some way to light it. I'm just going to give myself a fire charge. Place down the formidabomb in front of the witherstorm, and light it. Then, get away very quick, because albeit you have a good minute or so to get away, still, the explosion is huge. And it should still be ignoring you from the symbiont, because I killed a symbiont very far away, it's not going to do that for me. Now, you just wait. Now, the formidabomb will detonate. I've decreased the volume by an obscene amount. And you can see, the witherstorm is now incapacitated. It will now slowly fall out of the sky, and eventually it will collapse. You can also see the massive crater left. Also, it will split into 3, and that's a little bit of foreshadowing to how much harder this is going to get. Now, it will lie dead for an hour. You can go around in the overworld and freely explore, and I'd highly recommend doing that to gather on any materials you are missing, along with crafting the golden apple stew to cure yourself. To craft your golden apple stew, All you need is some suspicious stew, any kind will do good, even ones made with withered roses, golden apple, diamond, and withered flesh, withered bones, or withered roses. Now I have golden apple stew. Eat this, and over time, you'll gain your health back. Just make sure you stay away from the wither storm, albeit it's fine to reactivate it by walking up to it. Now, get back to the nether as soon as possible, because, of course, this thing is about to revive. And once revive, on top of probably blowing out your eardrums, there's now 3 of them, and those will grow up to 9 heads in total. So just go back to the nether and wait for about 40 minutes. After the 40-minute period has passed, it should be looking something like this. And there should also be another symbiont if you wait long enough. Kill this symbiont and get yourself another command block book. Grab yourself any diamond tool, albeit sword is preferable, any will do. Give it the command block book, and now you have the command block sword. Then wait around until it starts blinking and a hole appears above its entrance. With the hole now open on its forehead, or can you even call it that? Well, on it. You want to get up as high as you can, especially using a tractor beam, because that will get you much closer, and using a crossbow with enderpearl by loading it with an enderpearl in your offhand, fire the enderpearl in. It will bounce right off of it, and you'll be inside of the wither storm, which is exceedingly dark. Once inside the central room of the wither storm, you should be able to see the command block. With your new tool in hand, you can now destroy it. Unlike when it was incapacitated, you couldn't actually destroy it. So, now you can hit it. It will make an incredibly loud noise. I'm sorry, guys. And it will basically initiate a boss fight. I've built the staircase here, so that way you can actually get to it closer. And you need a couple of blocks here, but you want to get in and make sure to not stay too close. Those tentacles will knock you off. As you can see, that flung me incredibly far. Now, you just want to attack it 3 times, and on your second attack, it will summon a symbiont. At this point, the room will be a mess, so you should definitely take out the mobs as they spawn. Knocking them into that hole is a good choice, because they'll just fall out of the wither storm. But if you fall down, it's okay. You'll just get kicked out, and you won't die because you'll have resistance, so that way the fall damage doesn't kill you. For now, there's now just 2 wither storm heads. You should probably ignore the symbiont, it's too powerful to kill, I'd say. And you need to kill the heads. And these ones are actually vulnerable to getting hit by a sword. I've disabled noises. So, hitting it with a sword works, and hitting it in the eye will also work. So, I recommend hitting it in the eye, albeit it's quite hard. It's the same difficulty as the other heads. Once these heads are destroyed, then you can finally land the finishing blow. Once you land the final hit, everything in the room will die, and you'll get kicked out of the storm. And, loud noise warning. Oh, actually disabled it, never mind. It will now die. As you can see, it's dropping a ton of pieces of itself on the ground, which you can mine if you ever want to live in this world, even though it's absolutely ravaged. And you'll get a withered nether star. Your journey is now over, and the wither storm is dead. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, and because this is a different style of content, don't expect this to be a replacement for my currently existing content. I'll still have a building tutorial this week, and I'll probably just leave this as is. In case it does get popular, I might make sequels for other mods and such, but otherwise, I'm going to remain the same. With that, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.